Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Stacey Bagwell, the Director of Customer Success at SmileSnap, and I have with me Casey Bull, the Director of Content and Community at the Invisible Orthodontist, also known as TIO. We've been working together on a video series that you've been receiving from us for the past couple weeks. So we're going to pick up with part 3, going virtual, how to seamlessly integrate the virtual consultation into your practice. Or is it it's part 3, I think.
Yeah, part 3.
We've got part 4 coming up after this. All right, Casey, I'll let you take it from here.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much, Stacey. And I should say that a lot of this information is actually in writing in the OrthoTown September issue. It's the same topic, going virtual. It's like the last article in the issue. So I dive into it. Again, it's like in text version, and it gives you some really good infographics that could be a good cheat sheet for you too.
Definitely. Thank you so much for sharing that, Casey.
So in this video, in this session, we're going to talk about video. We're going to talk about the role of video, because if you have that video consult or that video call as the first stage, well, rather it's the last stage in the reception rate tracking that we talked about last week, and it's the first stage in the conversion rate. But you have the in-office consultation. So what is like the role of video versus the role of the in-office consultation? That's what we want to dive into a little bit today.
I'm so glad you're talking about this too, because I know offices get worried about, what step they're at. So I think this is a fantastic opportunity to discuss where it fits in the overall process. So thank you so much for sharing this one today.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So what we're going to look at first are the don'ts of video consults. And so the first don't is, don't have this be about the first look of your teeth or their teeth. Hopefully you have received the photos. Now, we did mention in I think both the last couple of weeks, that some patients, some prospects will not be able to send you really good photos. So at the video call, you may not actually have had a really good look at their teeth, but do not use this time to do that. Wait for the in-person consultation. You don't want to get them to have to go to the webpage. Maybe for us, because we're in this space, it's comfortable, but for most people, that's really
very
uncomfortable.
Awkward.
It's not a good way to use the video call, so just don't do that. You don't use this to present treatment plan and fees. And I know that probably sounds counterintuitive, but you don't want to have the video call to be about the treatment plan and fees as the first point. If you have already sent your treatment plan and fees through email, absolutely discuss it. But their first time hearing a fee, or their first time hearing that they are not a candidate for aligner treatment, do not have that conversation here. And then you do not want to keep the structure the same as an in-person consult. Now, by structure, I mean the beginning is records. Why are you interested in treatment? Bring in the doctor, right? That structure is different. You can absolutely have the same kind of cadence as like TC, doctor, TC, but what is discussed is gonna need to change.
So what are some of the things that, again, I always tell when I'm working with offices, TCs, okay, you have the information, you've already connected with the patient, most of them have already sent fees, that this is a time to review what they've told them already, or, since we last spoke, do you have any specific questions that you'd like to discuss today? Anything else, Casey, that you would suggest as far as that conversation, again, especially as the TC getting that video call started?
Yeah, I think, well, you know what, let me go to the next slide so we can talk about some of the do's, the good things, and then we can kind of brainstorm, because I think that the cadence is going to be a bit different for everybody, just because the nature of a virtual consult and that journey will inevitably vary practice to practice. Okay. Some maybe don't feel comfortable sending treatment options and as a specific fee, maybe they're giving a bracket. And so then how you need to navigate the conversation on the video call and then what you reserve for in-office, it will change, but let's go into the do's and then we can kind of brainstorm a bit.
Okay, great.
So number 1 do is get to know their story. So up to this point, your follow-up, your communication has largely been, I need your photos. and then I'm going to give you a fee. And so you need to really get to know them. What prompted you to find us in the first place? And it's not my dentist told me, because their dentist told them is not what's motivating them. Maybe that was, the straw that broke the camel's back, but you need to really understand their story. And I use my own mother's treatment as a great example, because obviously I'm in orthodontics. You would think that I would know that she would want to get it done, but actually her dentist told her, you need to get Invisalign. She was about to get Invisalign with her dentist. And she's like, oh, guess what, Casey? I'm getting Invisalign. I'm like, what are you doing? Please don't. And then it took the consult, and it was a very long consult, to uncover that in fact she is insecure about the aging of her smile. She feels like there's shadowing on her lower teeth. It looks like she has an overbite when she smiles really brightly. So in photos she does a fake smile. Anyways, if you would have just stopped at, my dentist told me I needed it, you wouldn't have motivated her enough to spend the full fee on Invisalign treatment, because we know that the fees are a bit higher for an orthodontist than a dentist. And you would have lost that case. So you need to get to know the story. Other than that, is there anything else? Dive deeper, because if there's nothing else, they'll say, nope, that's it. But keep digging, because a lot of the times, like my own mother, they don't even really know. They don't even really know why they need it. It's like, I feel like I need it. And so keep asking. Be intentional with your body language. So in a video call, you don't have the same opportunity to sense like energy that's in a room. And you have these little squares, and you don't even get to full body language, or what is going on behind them and how many distractions are happening because, the kids are wrestling in the back room and they've muted themselves so you don't hear it. You need to be very intentional with your body language as well as pay attention to theirs. So treatment coordinators, and this, we even do if you're recording your in-office consultation, a lot of people have soothing things where they'll TCs, while they're listening, will play with their hair or with their necklace, and it's not even intentional, it's totally subconscious, but you have a soothing thing. Just making sure that you're very intentional, because they are just looking at you. And so you need to just be very aware of everything that you're doing, removing distractions, as well as paying attention to theirs. If they start to look disengaged, it may not be anything that you're saying, but it may be. But you need to kind of acknowledge, tell me what you think about that. Are you comfortable with X? What do you think? Asking them some questions. Don't say, hey, you look uncomfortable. What's going on? But relative to whatever you're discussing, take a moment, acknowledge them as a human being. You're having a conversation with a friend, and making sure that you're keeping them with your conversation.
That's so important. And it's also too, is the whole time you're talking like, oh, what have I been doing? You think you're reflecting, what is my tell sign?
Yeah, no, totally. And we'll talk about a couple of these. I'll kind of demonstrate a couple of things once we get through all of the do's. So you want to make the process smooth. Again, you're talking to a friend, a cousin, family member. You want to make sure that they're comfortable. So if it's not going smooth for them because they have a lot of distractions going around, you don't want them to feel insecure about that. You want them to feel very comfortable and that you've accommodated and say, hey, look, I get it. You can handle that. I'll wait. And if you can't wait, say, hey, is there another time that's better? I'm totally happy. Like whatever you need. Do you want to call me back? You just need to make sure that you're meeting them and you're making it as smooth as possible. Mm-hmm. The emphasis is on building a connection with the person. It's not an administrative task. It's not a video call. I need to have a video call before I can get you in for an in-office consultation, and we have to go through XYZ. The goal is building that connection. And primarily right now, because when they come into the office, you don't have the opportunity to build a genuine connection because you're covered in PPE.
It's so true. I've had that. It's funny. It didn't dawn on me for the longest time, and then when I had doctors point it out, it was just such an eye opener. And especially if you're meeting a child for the first time too, for them to be able to see you and see you smile and see how genuine you are, as opposed to when they come in and you're fully covered and they're like, all right, who is that person? So it's so important, more than ever right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So have that emphasis on building the connection. Everything else is secondary. Everything else is, yes, if they have questions, talk about fees, talk about the treatment options, because you've already told them, and you're not dropping any kind of bombs, and you're just nurturing the trust. That is the whole purpose of the video call. So there's many practices that I know who actually have been slow to adopt SmileSnap, if I'm honest, and but they still do a video call before their in-person consultation, because it's so important right now. You just got to do it. Mm-hmm. Now, we kind of like skipped over a little bit, but when we talk about like ways to build a connection and using body language, thinking about the placement of your camera, what's in the background, the quality of your audio, all of these things matter as well for making the process smooth and building that connection. So if you're in a place in your practice where it's either loud or there's going to be people walking by, then you need to eliminate those distractions, not only for yourself, but for the prospect. So you can get things like a green screen that connect to the back of a chair, and it's kind of like a moon. And so at least in the video, they don't see any of that. You can get mics. You can get mics that sit on the computer that kind of look like a podcast mic, or you can get ones that go in your ear. Again, helping to eliminate distractions from background noise. Lighting. You don't want to be in front of a window. You want to have a nice ring light so you have beautiful lighting so you don't have any distractions. So all of these things are so important to go along with these kind of do's of how to make a really, really impactful video call. And it sounds probably a little bit superficial, but it's all to build that connection.
It totally is, definitely. And then I always tell offices too that, okay, if someone happens to walk by, it's a staff member and they're talking loud, I said, then take a second and introduce them. I said, because of the fact that it's going to happen. So instead of being awkward, just embrace the situation of like, oh, hi, this is Justina. You're going to meet her when you come in for the appointment. Justina, say hi. I said, just embrace any awkwardness that happens.
Oh my gosh, such a great point. Because you would do that if it was your cousin or a friend on the line. And so absolutely, the whole thing is to make them feel like I already have a connection with Stacey. I feel comfortable. She feels comfortable with me, which makes me feel comfortable.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So that's at the high level, the best tips that I can give you for having a phenomenal video call.
Well, it's fantastic information. And again, when I saw you do the webinar, I guess it's been about a month or a little bit longer, then these were the points that really stuck out with me. And it's things too, that these subtleties of a ring light or not being in front of a window that we need to consider as we're doing this. But I know before too, when you had mentioned a ring light, and the first thing I did was like, oh, let me go buy one of these. And now I can walk around with it everywhere. But it's great too, because as the light changes during the day, it may need a different type of light to change with the setting that you're in and everything. But again, great information. And as Casey said too, she is featured in the September issue of OrthoTown. So everybody go pick it up. It's going to have all of this information in written form, even from the sessions we've done before and the ones that we're doing after. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.